The Power Rangers universe began with the television series, and that's where we met Tommy Oliver in 1993. This character started out as the Green Ranger, although he later became several different Rangers. The power of the Green Ranger is one of the most famous powers there is, but in the TV series we are not given much information about this power. Several years ago, a company called Boom Studios began to create comics of this fantasy universe of the Power Rangers. These comics started with the name Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and all these stories narrate things that we have not seen in the TV series. They provide us with additional information to answer many questions that have been left unresolved. In addition to this, they create alternate stories about some powers and about some travels in the multiverse. One of these stories is about the new Green Ranger, a ranger that many still do not know who he is. In this channel, we have narrated some stories of the comics, and we have divided everything into sagas. We have already talked about the Lord Draken saga, then we narrated the Death Ranger saga, and now we are narrating the last comics that are being published after the Death Ranger saga. We do this with the purpose that everyone can connect with the comics and know how these incredible stories are going, since Hasbro publishes toys about these comics. The company Boom Studios wanted to be connected to everything that happens in the franchise, and for this reason it's good that you can know the comics that are currently out there. Let's meet this new Green Ranger, but let's start from the beginning so we can understand the story well. In the TV series, even though Rita had the Dragon Power coin, still, she was not a Green Ranger as they said in the 2017 movie. We all know that movie is out of canon and they created a different story. In the real story, Rita had found the Dragon coin on Earth and Zordon had found the other 5 power coins. Then, Rita looked for Tommy Oliver to be the bearer of this power coin as the Green Ranger, since she saw in him great qualities as a fighter and he could be the person to defeat Jason, the Red Ranger. We all know that these two Rangers had a great battle and Jason defeated Tommy by destroying Rita's spell. These are all things that happened in the TV series, but the comics give us more history about what happened with this power and the new Green Ranger. In one of the comics we read on this channel that talked about the history of the Death Ranger, we could see this new Green Ranger named Matthew Cook. Many fans were confused about who this new Green Ranger was, since in that same story we could see Tommy Oliver as the White Ranger. All of these events took place before the Rangers got the ninjetti powers, and obviously this creates a bit of confusion since we have seen that Tommy has used the Green Ranger powers in other seasons. We must remember that Tommy has a Master Morpher that helps him connect to all of his powers, and that each Ranger connects to his power and the Morphin grid at the level of his cells. This connection allows each Ranger to have access to his powers, even if he is outside of the Ranger team, hence the phrase, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. Let's talk about Matthew and how he came to use the Green Ranger powers and who he is working with, since we could see that he does not have a good relationship with Zordon. This new Ranger is a student who attends the same school as the other Rangers and is a football player. At one point in the story he was Kimberly's boyfriend, but then they broke off their relationship. Then, Matthew was able to find out who Ranger Slayer was and knew immediately that she was an older Kimberly. This made him confront the other Rangers as they were his friends, and he wanted them to tell him the truth, but the Rangers couldn't tell him anything. Then later he understands why they can't tell him anything and starts to be friends with Kimberly even though she was already Tommy's girlfriend. The important part of all this is that Billy is the person who repairs the Dragon Power coin and gives it to Grace Sterling. She is the first Red Ranger and leader of the first Power Rangers team on Earth, which was short-lived as almost all of them died, and because of this she has never had a good relationship with Zordon. After several years she created Promethea, a high-tech corporation that brings together the brightest minds to continue building the future. In her first mission as a Red Ranger, she and her team had to battle against the Green Psycho Ranger, and in this battle she was able to obtain this Ranger's dagger that used the same energy as the Green Ranger. She used this dagger to reactivate the Dragon Power coin along with the Morpher, and then chose Matthew to be the new Green Ranger. After this she trained this new Green Ranger so that he could be just like the Power Rangers and was always advising him. This is possibly the information needed to know how Tommy can still control the power of the Green Ranger. In addition to this, we must say that Matthew's suit is very similar to the suit used by Tommy in his fight against Ryu, and although these battles are not canon, even so, the owners of Power Rangers Hasbro have used these videos to create action figures. Later, we saw in the Death Ranger saga how Matt joined the Power Rangers in order to help Rocky with an alien invasion while the other Rangers were looking for a new command center. From that point on, Matt began to help the Rangers in all the battles and became part of the team. Despite this, the Green Ranger is still part of Promethea and continues to work with Grace. This is why in the last published comics he uses Promethea's resources to help the Rangers. Now the mighty Morphin team has 7 Rangers and Matt is one of the strongest and bravest of them all. Despite this he is not very experienced and is sometimes a bit clumsy with his decisions. In this team Tommy is still the leader using the powers of the White Ranger, but Matt does not let himself be directed by Tommy at all times. Sometimes he makes his own decisions and this affects the team. In the last comic we narrated before this video, Matt is a prisoner and Mistress Vile, better known as Rita, is torturing him. In the next comics, this character is going to be very important, and that is why we present her story in this video. I highly recommend you to start reading the comics and watching all the narrations we have done on this channel. For now, at the time of publishing this video, the comics are on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 106. If you like comics, like this video, and subscribe for more Power Rangers stories.